When I bought my townhouse in a small, gated community managed by a particularly overzealous HOA, I knew I'd have to make a few compromises. I was fine with trash can rules and lawn heights. What I didn't expect was a full-blown battle over parking space numbers. Each unit in the community had its own designated spot, but over time the numbers on the asphalt had faded. People started parking wherever they wanted, and I came home more than once to find strangers in my reserved space. After a few frustrating weeks of circling around the block, I decided to take action. I bought industrial-grade outdoor paint, stencils, and clearly marked my space with large white numbers. 114. Crisp, clear. Problem solved. For a week, everything was great. No one took my spot. My neighbors even complimented the clarity of the numbers. Then came the dreaded envelope. Violation notice. Unauthorized alteration of common property. $100 fine. According to the HOA, I had defaced shared community property by painting the numbers myself. I appealed the fine, explaining the issue and even offering to repaint all the spots at no cost. Their response? A flat no and a warning that future modifications would be met with further penalties. I couldn't believe it. They didn't care that my solution was practical and helpful. They just didn't like that I took initiative without permission. 2 days later, my painted numbers were gone, power washed off by the HOA's contractor. My spot was blank again, and within 24 hours, someone parked in it. I had to knock on doors to get them to move. That was the last straw. What the HOA didn't know is that I own a custom metalworking business. We fabricate precision parts for engineers and artisans, and in the back of my shop, I had access to a CO2 laser cutter with concrete and stone engraving capability. So I got creative. Using high-res mapping software and a set of industrial etching tools, I designed a minimalist but bold engraving for my space. The next weekend, I took the equipment out after dusk, so I wouldn't bother anyone with the noise, blocked off my spot with cones and went to work. After an hour of dust and sparks, I had number 114 permanently and beautifully laser-etched into the concrete, smooth, precise, and completely unremovable. The next morning, a board member came by, jaw nearly on the pavement. "You can't just, what is this?" I calmly replied, "There's no paint, no defacing, no rule against etching." They called an emergency HOA meeting the next week. Their official stance? Etching is a structural modification. My counter? It's not structural, it's cosmetic, and I've consulted a legal expert. That wasn't a bluff. I had an actual lawyer draft a letter stating that etching did not violate any existing clause in our HOA documents. In fact, because it restored clarity to a parking assignment, it could be argued as an improvement. The HOA had nothing. The fine was waived. A few months later, a funny thing happened. One of the same board members who scolded me emailed and asked if I could maybe laser etch their space too. Just for clarity, of course. I offered a discount. Now, over a dozen spots in our community have permanent etched numbers, all done legally, cleanly, and HOA approved after the fact. And my original spot? Still proudly marked number 114, etched in stone like a monument to calm, calculated rebellion. Because if the HOA wants to erase my paint, I'll just make my numbers impossible to remove.